Hey there, Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for June 15th through 22nd, 2026. Well, we've just had a very powerful new moon in Gemini, and what it feels like we're feeling right now is this powerful conjunction as the moon comes out of that new moon into a crescent and into a conjunction with Jupiter. This is highlighting the energy of, as last week moving into that Gemini new moon, we had Venus triggering the Jupiter square Chiron. First on the 10th, coming into a conjunction with Jupiter, beautiful visual event in the sky associated with the last shift of ages, this impulse of Yeshua, what he showed us, and the impulse of Christ consciousness on planet Earth. They're displayed in the night sky for all of us to see. Now, this crescent moon with Jupiter having a very dramatic effect because Jupiter's coming to the end degrees of Cancer. And we're wondering where that tsunami of mother's love is that was foretold in the astrology. And this is exactly the whole story. What is holding this back at the gate? So Jupiter has made it to 26 degrees and will make it to 28 degrees by the end of the week, coming to the very end degrees of Cancer, moving into the sign of Leo on July 1st. Now, Venus just moved over into Leo on the 14th. And so that was a powerful energy leading into that new moon with Venus moving over into Leo. And we also now are coming up to the solstice with the sun getting ready to move over into the sign of Cancer. So we have all of these planets shifting and switching signs. And of course, the big one at the time of solstice is Chiron moving into the sign of Taurus. But the whole astrology is saying, yes, this is the end of a chapter and the beginning of another chapter. There's just too much major shifting going on. And then the question is, how do we receive this new day, this new chapter? How do we step into it, claim it, own it? And so this is what the astrology is talking to us about. So Venus coming into this conjunction with Jupiter and then square with Chiron on the 13th. So this is triggering the third and final square of Jupiter and Chiron, and they're coming into this square here this week as Jupiter moves, he's at 26 degrees, Chiron's at 29 degrees. So now they're in the orb of this square, and it's the third and final. It started all the way back in September of 2025. And so it's so epic. And then what's even more epic about this third and final square of Jupiter and Chiron, it happens July 1st through 3rd. 2026, 250 years from the Declaration of Independence in the US that started the Revolutionary War, but we never really won that war. That was at the time of this major reset. And what we're finding as we uncover our true history is that we've had reset after reset where our memory of who we really are in our advanced abilities as humans, our technologies, our history has been stolen from us, destroyed, wiped. But there's one problem with that. And we are that problem. And this is why your life has been so hard, Supernova Soul. You're the unexpected problem because you remember. The DNA, our organic God code DNA, cannot forget. And when that remembering happens, we also come into our greater power. We overcome all restrictions. And really what we're doing is claiming back Mother Earth, our goddess, from where her resources are being misused against her prime directive, what she wants to be. So we're coming into this beautiful experience of what is it that she wants to be? And there we come to the rememberers, the ones that have the original codes, that wherever dimensional reality you were in, you were present and witness for the birth of this earth, of this goddess, this embodiment of the universal mother. And we get to walk upon her. Now, this is the part of the remembering that we're missing the most, and that's keeping us from being able to claim back our resources, our wealth, our energetic wealth, which is the wealth. See, the taking over, the rape, infiltration of Mother Earth is really about the takeover of human consciousness, right? You got to take over human consciousness in order to take over the earth. Now we know about dark, strange cloning programs, and it's kind of come forward that this may be a way of understanding what's happened to us. In this, are us remembers who are going, wait a minute, this is not right. This is not how it's supposed to feel. In that, it's almost like there's been a surrogate clone of our organic Mother Earth, and she's in chains, and we're separated from her. And indeed, this might be the story, the greatest story that's never been fully told of Christ consciousness throughout this evolution that we are claiming back and remembering who we are in this higher power, this mystery, long been hidden, but brought into the public human consciousness through Jesus, Yeshua's life and actions, and the thousands of souls and that works have been doing this from the beginning. Thousands, maybe only thousands, I don't know. And so this story continues, and this is what this astrology is all about, because we're at the next shift of ages, and so we have to reclaim what happened at the last shift of ages, which is this impulse. Rudolf Steiner talked about these events, this mystery school event playing out of the mysteries of resurrection, triggered a literal kind of, I'm seeing it as they describe it, like a cloud of energy, an etheric birthing of possibility, so that human souls had this bigger possibility to open up to the Christ consciousness, possibilities that we have within. But then the Piscean age ensued with this massive, just persecution and total deception, lies, distortion, just so much that it worked against this impulse. And this is where we get to this reset after reset after reset, where human consciousness, we take a leap, and then it's like advanced beings, not as advanced as where we actually have been and came from. Okay? This is really, really important information right now. We got some energy of the aliens, and they want to, they're going to want to come save us. The Nordics and the Galactic Federation and all that crap, right? But are they? Or are they reptilians underneath, Because the great deception has not yet been revealed. And what's happening is that us rememberers are causing glitches in the matrix where the shapeshifters, the fake, the masks, the lies, it's like blipping out, right? It's like they can't hold their deception. Now, this also fits astrology, and a big part of why we're having this huge bloom of the Piscean age energies is because the North Node is coming to the end of Pisces. And, Neptune has been in Pisces for so many years now, and since 2012. And so it's like we are we can't remember what it's like to not have so much in Pisces, because then the last couple of years we had Saturn in Pisces, and that was like amplifying Neptune in Pisces. And now then the North Node was the last thing, and the North Node moves backwards, the nodes of the moon, the South Node in Virgo, very important, because South Node in Virgo is, we came here to clean up the earth, to claim back our mother, our resources for organic life. It's like not only are they stealing from us, but they're stealing to do harm. And then they're laughing at us, enjoying doing harm with our resources. Now, how do we stand up and say no? And no means no. It feels like this, I don't know, just the violation of Mother Earth, where she's waking up and she's saying, this is not appropriate. No, no means no. And this violation in the human consciousness. Now, that is because of advanced technologies we don't know about, but are being used against us in our own body, nanotech, and that is self-replicating graphene, activated by frequencies and towers, and different signatures go to different parts and conglomerate in different areas, mostly the brain. And so they can act as biosensors, where they can read your thoughts and emotions, but also adjust them through a handheld device. This is our medical industry, what is going on behind the scenes. We want the miracle cures of those technologies, and it's a complete revealing of these lies, right? But the beautiful thing that's happening, which seems to have to do with the tsunami of Mother's love that's trying to come back into our world. Mother's message around this that came through the Gemini new moon activation, so go get that. It was very powerful. But she's saying that what the tsunami of Mother's love is actually a return of life force that's already ours, that's been stolen, and we're taking it back. But the way we're taking it back is by our immune system and the matrix realities, like how we are identifying shapeshifters and people who aren't in the right, we're just being able to see more clearly. They can't hide. We've brought them out of the shadows, and this is what's happening in our immune system. It's so beautiful, because the only reason we've been able to get to this place is that these additives in our body are undetectable, designed to be undetectable by the immune system. But the human consciousness and form and energy field is so powerful. And that's the deal. Like, if you're surviving in these times, you are regenerating your body at a rate that you have no idea. And it's activating our ancient art, the remembering of regeneration. So when we clean this up, you're going to age backwards. You already are. So just keep breathing and keep loving, because there's just this huge bloom of these control energies. And it would make sense that, of course, at the end game, there's the greatest duality, and recognizing the role of the enemy forces, right, as a part of the one consciousness, and getting so intense and pushing us. We have no choice but to come into, we can't take back what's been stolen until we feel like we can take responsibility for the consciousness, to take back what's ours, to know we can handle it. But we've been programmed for thousands of years, way before the fall, Atlantean time, of fear of our own power. And then lifetime after lifetime, right? Take it to the Salem witch trials. It's like, okay, how many supernova souls have zero ability to, so hard to express your thoughts and feelings because of this throat chakra, and because you have the voice, you're a seer, you're a prophet, and it's like this traumatization over lifetimes through this Piscean age was all designed to keep you quiet as a rememberer. Now at different resets, we have to understand that the people that didn't want to forget were sent to the insane asylum. Okay. Or maybe they were called a witch or Protestant or Catholic or whichever way they needed to go at the time to do the persecution of always the spiritual shamans and whatever manifestation of incarnation. They seek us out and try to just eliminate us, except for there's too many of us. And we're like literally embodying into our body. That's what everything is saying right now. How do we heal and take back the earth? How do we take back our power? How do we take responsibility for our consciousness? We embody into our body. And that is the powerful next chapter, because on the 20th, the day before the solstice, Chiron moves over into Taurus. And that's the big thing about this cosmic dance that's playing out with Jupiter square Chiron, is that their first two were in Cancer, Aries and Cancer, cardinal signs, first two squares. And now 0 degrees of the fixed signs, Taurus and Leo. And so it was powerful because Venus, to see in the sky, Venus come to Jupiter, and Jupiter or Venus then moved into Leo, kind of paving the way, saying, come on, Jupiter, the divine feminine's in charge now. And that was the energy of that Venus Jupiter conjunction. It's the queen, the true queen on her throne again. And I had this whole interesting, we know that as an empathic, sensitive, SuperNova soul, and if you're in a female body, you often will encounter a lot of competition energy. In the lineages have been really poisoned with this, which is more of a male energy, but it's been in the powerful female lineages. And there's this kind of thing of like this surrogate world that's like a clone of Earth has a mother, but an AI mother. It's like a spidery looking creature. And that mother is jealous of our most beautiful goddess, sexy, and will suppress that energy at every cost. So we always have this like feminine distortion that's been keeping the true divine pure feminine from blooming and coming back into that spiritual voice. The feminine that I'm talking about is within all of us, because we're talking about our intuition, our emotions, our ability to feel and care. Now, this is what the astrology is saying to us now, because we're in this phase of, as Jupiter comes to the end of Cancer, recapitulating this whole last year of Jupiter in Cancer, and how do we claim back this connection to Mother's love? Because the clear message in the astrology right now is that we cannot go further in the true path of human evolution and Earth wants to go. We are completely just at an impasse until we can come back to Mother's love. How can we take responsibility, be stewards, know who we are, if we don't feel that connection with her? And we've been so disconnected from it, but we've held the memory. And this is what has come through, SuperNova souls. You, as a remember, holding this memory has been the key piece of winning this war that we didn't know we came here to fight. It's excruciatingly painful and we're exhausted. And yeah, it's a final battle. So pick yourself up. And because it's about knowing and claiming our strength. That's the energy of Leo. It's like the strength of our light, the ability of it to shine, the emanating power of consciousness. So Venus and Leo is kind of empowering that divine feminine voice. And then Jupiter moving into Leo is kind of pushing us into this energy that so we have to come back to Mother in our connection, our love, our worthiness, and understanding her laws and rules and alignment. And we have to shine that in the world and express it in the world, So Jupiter in square to Chiron is this kind of energy of pressure for the expression of the life force that we are, that we can't own it. We don't deserve it if we're not going to use it, right? Like we've got to live, fully live. And this is what Mother says again and again. Like she wants us to remember the ecstasy of existing in her realm, of being her body, of walking upon her, that life is meant to be. She says, please don't let go of this. This is what's gotten you through. It's what's gotten all of us through this experience. And now we have to enact it, right? We have to own it. We have to live it and breathe it. And that's this next chapter. But the pressure is so on and it's so intense. With Venus, with the moon after that Gemini new moon, the Gemini new moon happened at the end of Gemini, there on the 14th. And so then the moon moved into Cancer, into that conjunction over the last couple of days with Jupiter. That new moon in Gemini happened at 24 degrees of Gemini and 3 minutes. And that 2 and 4 is 6. And then 3 minutes and 3 and 6 is 9. So you've got 3, 6, 9, the secrets of the universe. And in Gemini, it's this higher frequency vibration. It's this activation with Uranus and Gemini now, activation of this higher frequency, everything we're talking about, the advanced technologies and everything that we're talking about around the truth of who we are in our higher power. So, as the moon now has moved into Cancer, now the solstice is on the 21st, and that's when the sun moves into Cancer. So we've got the sun here at the last few degrees of Gemini. We've got Jupiter at the last few degrees of Cancer, and we've got Chiron hanging out at 29 degrees, getting ready to move into Taurus. So on the 20th, Chiron moves into Taurus, and then the sun moves into Cancer. So they're in sextile, exact sextile at 0 degrees. So it's telling us Chiron has been in Aries since 2018. And so another 8 years or so, Chiron has an erratic orbit. So for around the next 8 years, Chiron will be in Taurus. It's going to go back into Aries in September. And then in April 15th, 2027, move back into Taurus for good. But Taurus, this sun moving into Cancer, summer solstice in the northern hemisphere, this powerful expansion of light and a return of the light in the southern hemisphere. And that moment happening with its exact sextile of a whole 8-year chapter of Chiron moving into another sign. So the sun is, who do you think you are? At 0 degrees Cancer, we're not remembering what it means to be human. How are we going to take back our earth and human consciousness from the control forces if we don't remember what it means to be human? And this is what's being shown to us. So our humanness is everything, because now we're starting to see like, oh, wait, a lot of people around us don't have these tendencies. It's getting more and more clear, right? That they might act as if they care, but they don't really have a capacity to care. They don't have a capacity to do anything but talk about themselves and operate in their own little universe of, it's like there's a lot of beings that aren't fully, truly ensouled humans, apparently, and it's becoming more clear. And we have to be like, in order to win this war, in order to take back our human consciousness, we have to identify the enemy. I know we don't want to be in war, and we don't want to be in aggression, and we don't want to be in the opposite. But if we don't stand against this enemy, then we will be overcome by this enemy. So we're in this very strange place. In order to stand against this enemy, we have to see it. And that's the beauty of the place we're in. She says that now you will be able to see, more clearly what's worth any moment of your time and energy, because she says you have what they want. And this is why the persecutions happen throughout the whole Piscean age and continue, and targeting and harassment today of advanced light worker souls, the human consciousness that won't go into the matrix, And so we are claiming back this consciousness and remembering, but that means we have to discriminate whether they're like us or not. Are they like us? Because as long as we accept them, then they get to have a say in our reality. But if we're saying, no, Earth is for human consciousness, if you're not truly human or have enough of a percentage of connection to a human soul, like you're stealing from Mother Earth. And we need to, her resources are now redesignated, and prioritized for the human soul. That's what she was created for, But we have to see, okay, that you're not like us. We have to own who we are. And that's what this is. So this last year of Jupiter and Cancer was about this. Like, come on, who are we? We have to come back to Mother. We have to come back to love if we're ever going to get anywhere in our human evolution. Now, Jupiter's about to move out of Cancer for good and this cycle, but we've got Mercury in Cancer about to take a retrograde and the sun moving into Cancer here for solstice. So we're the sun is our identity. So wherever the sun is, it makes us think about that aspect of ourselves. So we're really facing this humanness. And so the sun in that sextile to Chiron is saying, in Chiron, the wounds of Chiron, because Chiron is our greatest wounds. We've talked a lot about the Chiron Aries, where we've given away our life force, our identity, right? So we have to claim our human identity. Like, no, we have divine potential. You want what we have. And it's a strange thing of coming to this negotiation table with these authority energies and being like, all right, give me back what's mine. I'm ready. I see it. I want it. And they're like, oh, we need to negotiate this. And it's like, you have zero that I want and need. I have everything you want and need. So is there a negotiation to this contract, or is it dead and gone? Like complete. And this is where we are working on a declaration for human souls that have a desire and their birthright to expand in human consciousness. We need a declaration of independence from these technological controls. We need to say, look, we recognize our right to access human consciousness as our birthright, which means we recognize you don't have a right. You stole it all. And yes, we rolled over and forgot and got reset again and again, but not this time. It's the age of the Aquarius. We have a destined and written jubilee of abundance coming on all levels. But doesn't it seem like that has to do with reclaiming this consciousness of Earth? So it's a beautiful thing, she says, that the life force energy is coming back to you, and your immune system is able to recognize the enemy in your body because you want organic life. We came here for an experience. It's really hard to find these days. You have to go very far out into nature and do some serious deep breathing. But there's been glimpses of this. And hold on to that and reset your vibration to that. And remember, it's the remembering, right? That we literally are rebirthing organic Earth because we hold the memory of what it is she really wanted to become. Now, these tenets have come forward around this brand or this understanding that can help us identify maybe with what it means to be a steward of Earth, to be an inheritor of this abundance. And the first tenet is this knowing, recognizing, like all spiritual paths will take you to that top of the one mountain where the view is the same, and to recognize that we're all one. We're all part of one consciousness. And then that says, well, we, then of course, like the Hippocratic Oath, we don't want to do harm because we don't want to hurt each other. We don't want to hurt ourselves. And so that's the main energy of what needs to be reset. And all the technologies that are doing deliberate harm, erased. See, this is the deal. It's like most supernova souls, have you been feeling like you did something wrong and you got to correct it? And you're like, oh, got to do it better, got to do it right, got to fix it, something, because it's so wrong. I must be able to, in my consciousness, I know I'm powerful. Guess what? What if all that is programming all the way back from Atlantean time and projection of these entities? Because what's really, really, really wrong is what they're doing to you, what they've done to us. And there has been no justice for thousands of years. And now we claim it. So how do we claim true justice in our own being? But we know justice is a concept, an important part of the goddess mysteries, right? And so there we go to the second tenet of this mother's dream, where it's mutual reciprocity. So we're all one. And so, and the relationship to our host, mother, as our goddess, our body, and is this mutual reciprocity, just this gratitude, honor, reverence. You show up with reverence, gratitude, honor, come bearing gifts, you know? And it's not like, oh, I'm going to make an offering and then I'm going to get something. That's a total distortion. This is a reverent gratitude, presence, energy, right? This is why all the indigenous cultures had their seasonal celebrations, dancing, their feet on the earth with their rhythms and their songs, their celebration, their listening, they're connecting to Mother Earth. And this is like, it's so simple, and it's like, it's not rocket science, or is it? Is that how we get back to the power in our very own field? Is to come back to that's been stolen from us, of our connection to this ancient indigenous wisdom. So much is just, it's like the earth with Gemini, with Uranus moving into Gemini and Chiron about to move into Taurus. It's like this, there's a different frequency, a different vibration. It's seismic, but it's not earthquakes and destruction and volcanoes, maybe a little tiny bit, but that's Mother Earth. That's never been her MO. That's not her deal. She says every single mass catastrophe we've ever had, that with many people dying, was not her. That was technologies that humans stole from her and us, advanced technologies, and created weapons. Directed energy weapon, the same thing used in Atlantean time, and the reset, the destruction of all these ancient buildings and temples, and now used against us as everyday military grade weapons on the civilian population. So we are at this kind of crossroads where we're like, oh my gosh, we have to claim this back. We have to take this step. We have to make this fight. And she says, yes, that says you do it by remembering and identifying with your humanness. That's your power. That's where the resources are. We hold the power. It's up to us to claim it back. So it's our humanness and identifying with our humanness that allows us to claim it back. So this mutual reciprocity, and of course that's taking care of each other, and showing up with this more is more, and reverence and gratitude for what is given and offered from our continually regenerating, beautiful goddess, right? So then the third tenet of this that has come forward along her brand is this, and this is becoming very more clear and more how important it is the individual expression. That in this age and in this divine expression of humanness, you do that through your own unique individual expression of the divine. So creativity. And that's like the creativity. And then that's how we worship, is by creative expression of the divine in our own unique way that nobody else can do. Because we have one little note in the song that everyone needs to hear to make it complete. So honoring that individual spark, so that oneness and yet that individual spark. And this is really interesting because I think the way this is coming forward as far as how it relates to Mother and our relationship to Mother Earth as the goddess that we know she is, we could look at it like how Yeshua's relationship to his disciples, and that there was a story of them wanting to say, oh, well, I'm more important. I should sit at your right hand, left hand, or whatever. And we've gotten that story, but it's portrayed, it's actually misinterpreted, because what it's really telling us is that all of the disciples felt that he loved them the best because that's how he loved. That's how Mother loves. Mother loves in a way that you're her favorite, and you feel that way no matter for all of her children. That's the individuated spark that nobody else can do. So that is so important, because in the automaton AI, that's taken away from us. And they're stealing it at such a rapid rate. It's crazy. But at the same time, it's becoming more and more evident what's real and what's fake, and humanness, making mistakes, being real, having the unknown X factor of listening to Mother Earth and being spontaneous and allowing things to flow their own way. That doesn't fit the matrix reality, So it's like, now in order to keep their world alive, they have to oppress us. So we're stuck. We have to complete the final battle. And that's the energy of this third and final square with Jupiter and Chiron. So what's it saying? The third and final battle, the first two parts of the battle were the fight to the death for the life of Mother Earth is what we got with Jupiter square Chiron in Aries and Cancer and Aries. And now in Taurus and Leo, Chiron in Taurus, the deep wounds are about embodiment. So herein lies the key. Our humanness, our connection to Mother, our love, our spiritual devotion through creativity, all has to do with embodying, right? So the spiritual ascension is kind of a misnomer, because what spiritual ascension really means for us is that we're embodying those higher spiritual parts of ourselves that we have not been able to incarnate on Earth, because it's such a dense energy here. And so we couldn't fully incarnate. We got this from the very beginning of the SuperNova soul story. You have a bigger self, and there's a placeholder. And at some point, you're going to go through a rapid period of awakening, and that bigger self is going to land, and you're going to be like, whoa. But it's not somebody different from who we are. It's a bigger, wider, more true, like it's like all the parts we need to be able to actually express it in the world. Right? So we've gotten, now why haven't we been able to embody past life traumas, karmic relationships with our parents, the reptilian lineage infiltration? And so now that's part of cleaning up the earth, right? And we've had this beautiful picture she's shown us of like these babies, masters incarnating. They want a vaginal birth. They don't want to miss the party, even though they don't need a body. And so they're changing the earth just by being born. And then that's giving us permission to incarnate our Buddha selves, our bigger selves. And then that in turn can give permission for more, has given permission for these masters to be able to arrive in human bodies as babies. This is how we're reclaiming Earth. It's so cool. And it feels like everybody's here, and so here we go. And so that's the energy of Chiron. The deep wounds are now around embodiment. So it's taking that fight for life of Aries and saying, okay, I'm going to own it. Now I'm going to embody it. Right? So the Chiron, so the energy of the next 8 years is overcoming everything that's keeping us from fully embodying our spiritual light. Now with the square with Jupiter right at the beginning of Chiron in Taurus and Jupiter in Leo, right at the beginning of Leo, for, like this So Jupiter in Leo is about expressing the light that we are. And Chiron says, well, if you're going to continue to be in the wounds of embodiment and low self-worth, and I'm not doing it right and all this, and it's like, then you're never going to be able to shine if you can't embody. And so that's where we have to recognize the forces that are projecting this negativity and programming into our field, that we don't belong here. It's not safe for us. Because when we come into our consciousness, it's actually not safe for them. That's what she's saying. They get erased, literally. Like they blip out of reality. And so this is this energy of like, they're trying to give us this energy of like, we're going to exterminate you, right? But that's only their projection, because they will be exterminated as we raise in consciousness. It's happening. They're being revealed. They're being exterminated. They're going to jail. We have justice coming, and there's no other way. We are done unless we get justice and truth about our history, because the rememberers are here. They've overcome all of this extermination attempts because they're divinely protected. And now we exterminate the exterminators, right? And so, the other projection is that energy that you've done something horribly wrong, when really they are the ones they've stolen human consciousness, done evil things with it and to human consciousness, and as a way just to steal what's not theirs and cause harm and enjoy causing harm. We cannot have this in our world anymore. It's recognize. Defend yourself. Not defend, fight back, right? This is your world. This is your body. And you have not, your best years have been stolen from you these last years. These were supposed to be the best years of your life. And we get this back. Not only that, lifetimes of what's been stolen from us. So it's just a really intense energy, but we do it through we do it through coming back to the love of Mother Earth, our connection and alignment with her. And we do it through embodying our bigger spiritual self. And we have to shine our light. We have to show the world. And most supernova souls really have been more comfortable hiding, but we don't have a choice. This is the battle, the final battle we've got to step into. In a way, the only safe space is being in the spotlight for supernova souls right now. If you're going to be in the audience and you're going to be harassed left and right, challenged in your power, until you step on that stage, you are going to be harassed and challenged. And it's like, can we just see these evil gremlins? It's like they're going to push us all the way until we own our power completely. And then all of this trauma and tragedy, we turn around and we're able to thank them for playing that out, because we got back to who we are. Can we just get back to who we are now? Can we just do it in the loving, nurturing way and learn and grow the way that Mother wanted it to be? That life nurtures life and supports life in the perfect balance, the masculine and feminine. And this is so important as we have Venus moving into Leo. Now, Venus triggering that Jupiter square Chiron is just bringing us into the energy of it. But Venus and Jupiter came together, in Cancer. So it's about Venus, it says the last two squares, exact squares, were about the divine feminine not being able to be back in order. Raped, violated, stolen from, disgraced, captured. Nobody cares about her. Left for dead after being raped, like by the Roman soldiers. This is what Mother Earth feels like. Who can stand with me, she says. And this is where it's like it's like the divine masculine and the protective connection to mother and love, falling back in love with mother can't really happen until she starts to shine and show herself. And so this Venus and Leo, but get this, when Venus came into that square this last week, it was a activation. Now it's like moving Venus into this chapter, because now Venus is now that Venus is in Leo, Venus will then came into is going to come into a sextile with Uranus and Gemini. Very beautiful, that new renaissance. Yes, it's got to be the feminine that leads the way. A trine with Neptune. Beautiful. It's a dream come true. If our divine feminine goddess is back, then everything can happen, and all the magic and the overflowing balm of goodness of the Milky Way. But then Venus comes into a square with Pluto on the 18th. So this is the 16th, 17th, 18th, and that's exactly when we have Uranus in exact square with the nodes of the moon. So we're coming to this destiny point for America, for the for humanity, for the world, for the earth. And the astrology is showing us this. So Venus in the sextile to Uranus trine with Neptune is triggering the kite. We have these planets are coming into this beautiful perfection. Pluto at the beginning of Aquarius, Neptune at the beginning of Aries, and Uranus at the beginning of Gemini in sextile to each other, and then Uranus and Pluto in trine to each other. It's so beautiful. So Venus is triggering this, and it's a foreshadowing of the Venus kite that we're going to have in August, mid-August. That's when the Mercury retrograde resolves. Mercury catches back up to Jupiter. So mid-August, this whole deal. And that's when we'll be feeling the Venus kite, when Venus moves into Libra, opposes Neptune, and will be in trine with Pluto and Uranus. So it's all kind of leading up to this. A kite is about lifting up. Mercury and the sun will be making this kite as well in September and into October. So we're lifting up. We had this kite last year, but we didn't quite get it up off the ground. And so Venus triggering this is so powerful because sextile Uranus, yeah, let's go, girl. She's shining her light. We got a new renaissance. Trine Neptune. Neptune in Aries is like the dream, the potential of what this world can be, what humanity can be. It is that kernel of remembering that we want to connect with. Then, boop-a-doom, that 16th, 17th, on the 18th, Venus in square with Pluto in Aquarius. So it says, not so fast. Pluto's retrograde in Aquarius. And it's got this energy of what about the power? Who's going to hold the power? Because Pluto is our higher power, our, energetic power. And so Pluto has a control energy to it, and Venus is kind of ready to shine. And then Pluto in Aquarius is like, can you take responsibility? Are you ready to own yourself? Have we cleaned up the subconscious of that broken feminine? Can somebody stand for her? Can somebody care for her? Can somebody love her? Take care of our bodies and our world, and feel the people around us wanting to take care of the world we live in. Like, we got to make this change. And this is this energy of like, what does it really mean for the divine feminine to overcome all the fear of her own power and step back in? So that's the square with Pluto. That's on the 18th. We'll feel it through the 21st, leading us right up to the energy of solstice. So the solstice happens on 21st. I hope, June 21st, I hope you'll consider joining the Solstice Soul Group session. This is a group intuitive session. Looking at shared past life pictures. This work is so deep. I have not found this anywhere. I wish that I could find a practitioner that could work with the Akashic records and see these past life pictures, because we can get such clarity and understanding, clear contracts, reset our timeline, soul retrieval. And these themes fit the whole supernova because we are connected as a group, right? That's the cool thing, the coolest thing. That's why we're superstars, because we're so unique and individual with so many experiences, and yet we're all connected with very similar experiences as they played out. So when we get together and do these past life readings, we get so much information, and I could really use your support, your energy, being there financially, sliding scale. And so please come be a part of that Solstice Soul Group session Saturday, June 21st. Saturday, June 20th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. The actual solstice is the next day on the 21st, but early in the morning on Mountain Time, 4:24 a.m. So this is a very powerful moment as we come to this solstice, because we feel the major shift of all these planets making such a move. Yet we also have Mercury having just moved into retrograde shadow. And so this energy of Chiron in a new sign, sextile the sun, a new chapter lies ahead of nurturing and embodiment. And then we've got Mercury slowing down in Cancer. Really, we have to figure this thing out. We have to figure this out. We have to figure out why we can't connect back to mom, because this is this energy of an all day long meditation and prayer of our loving goddess, loving Mother Earth, and it's not taking hold. And it must take hold. We claim our human consciousness. We claim our responsibility and our alignment with Mother Earth. And that's all the thoughts we are able to think right now. That's all the meditations and the mantras. It has to do with this, which is also your potential, your greatest potential, your soul truth, your spiritual light, your advanced capabilities, your higher self, your bigger self landing home. It's all the same as Mother Earth's dream. You're that crucial piece. So we stand for this. And we can't back down. But how do we do it without getting called into their games and their fight? And so this is the mystery of these times. So it's so intense to have Venus square Pluto, but it's also foreshadowing that kite. So that it says that when Venus comes into the kite, that's when the divine feminine can really lift off into. But then Venus has a retrograde in Scorpio and Libra, which is very interesting. That doesn't resolve to December. So the whole rest of this year is this kind of like, all right, how do we reinstate our goddess and the authority of the divine feminine in our world, so we can claim back the consciousness of Earth, come back into balance and move forward in our evolution and free ourselves from these controls that we have already outgrown long ago, and we demand and command. And it's almost like they are trying to get us to push to violence, to use our power for violence in order to defend ourselves. And I think our greatest weapon is love. We know this. Can we fight back with love by this connection? More and more, amidst all the chaos going on, there's this moment. There has been a shift of a release of some of these technological energies of surveillance, and there's a little bit wider opportunity to feel a deeper, true connection, are the words to her. This is what she's saying. Feel this deep, take a moment, just widen out time, space. This is what all of the technology interference didn't want us to feel. So that means our greatest weapon is our connected, deep, connected peace, our love of her, our remembering of her. We have to reach out so hard, because what if we are on a surrogate with the COVID and the technology takeover? Literally, we are on a surrogate cloned Earth. And we have to crave and love and remember and celebrate her to keep her alive for us. And that's what we've been doing. And so I guess that's what this Independence Day celebration is about. So we'll work on that declaration. So let's just talk this through, this intense week of astrology with Uranus square the nodes, Venus square Pluto. And Uranus now in Gemini in square to the nodes, but they're coming to the very end of their time in Pisces and Virgo. So that means there's a huge bloom of the energy. And we talked about how the nodes of the moon move backwards through the signs like the ages. So at the beginning of Pisces was the end of the Piscean age, which we're just completing. So the nodes are literally rewalking us through. So if you're feeling loop-de-loop in these old patterns, but little loops and like, wait, the same old thing. It's showing you it's a simulation. It's showing you it's a surrogate Earth. It's showing you it's a fake reality that you've been trapped in with psychological manipulation and control. And now we bust out of our prison. They want us to think that the other Earth has been destroyed and there's nowhere else to go. We're stuck with them as our keepers and our lords. And all our resources must come through them, and they're going to keep us safe from our own power for a little while longer. That's those people in bodies showing up saying they're Galactic Federation or the Palladians or the Nordics or any kind of different civilization, okay? Because there was this channeling message that came through William Tompkins, he was an insider in the whole UFO scene, you know? And I think it just has stuck with me as a really important concept for us, because he said that if they show up in a body, in a body resembling a human body, they have an agenda. Okay. So we have had this, what we're dealing with right now is that we need to get wise to this game and our self-worth, pick ourselves up and being like, wait a minute, we bought into some sort of earth initiation and the school of hard knocks, and this is how you learn, and you need to be tested, and are you a true initiate, and do you deserve? And it's like, no, we were beaten down and like traumatized into this extreme place, and we have to say, and then told that we did it wrong, set up, framed for the Atlantic catastrophes when they actually did the destruction, and they're continuing to destroy Earth and us. And so we're in this place of, I guess it's like the feminine on her throne is us claiming our own autonomy in our psychic field. And this is so huge. They are challenging, invading our field because they have a right to, as long as we're in a simulated surrogate reality. And so our breath and our connection to nature and mother is what allows us to claim organic earth. And then she got that beautiful message that when organic earth is activated, this life force, like we said, we can identify the toxins. And a very important message around this, because she says, as that life force is returning into your body, tell your body to quickly clean up the mess. We are at a point we need to quickly. Does that mean that we are going to be quickly cleaning up the earth? Because we went to the end game, and our bodies too are broken down from all this toxicity. And I thought that was so interesting, because so many of Mother's messages are like, slow down, wait until you get the next message, be in the moment, like wait, be in the flow, like be in the presence. And so for her to say, do it quickly, is a totally different energy. And it's kind of cool in a way, because we have been waiting and waiting for something to trigger this movement that we know is coming, of this shift. And then we can look at that word as a root word of quickening, a quickening, like the beginning of feeling the child grow in the womb and the quickening of new earth. And so she says, as this life force comes back, you have to grab it and use it, talk to your body and tell your body you want to choose organic life, and to do it quickly, to heal and clear up quickly. And also, what a beautiful picture of us landing home in our power, expressing our unique individuality, and getting to going on these beautiful creative projects that are also restoring Mother Earth quickly. We've got to get on with it if we're going to save her. We've got to care about this, our bodies, We can't live in a toxic world and continue to deliberately poison the earth and humanity. And what's more, these forces have been doing it with our own tax dollars. except for that it's all to try to get, they had to infiltrate our body without our consent with technology to keep us from activating into our superpowers. It doesn't seem to be working. And we step forward and we claim it. And this is the energy of these times. And so Uranus and square to the nodes, Uranus and Gemini, our new renaissance, our expression, the truth of higher technologies, of who we are in higher technologies, that going back to the Nordics and that whole thing of, or whatever, the Galactic Federation. I'm not saying that there aren't extraterrestrial advanced civilizations on our side, but they're not presenting themselves in bodies. Maybe they'll take a form, but this is the deal. It's these breakaway civilizations that have been manipulating the human DNA and controlling it. And so they're hoping that we'll just be so traumatized that we fall back into their arms of control. And we have to say no, because I saw you shapeshift into a reptile for a second, and I'm not buying all your powers. This is why it had to take this long. This final game is about disclosure, us, the race for disclosure, we being the disclosure first, showing the light that is possible. And then we don't go into the catastrophe. Please save us with your superpowers and advanced technologies. No, we have Earth technologies, all technologies in alignment with Earth and those who have been misusing them. So we have to be really careful at this time to recognize that the forces and energies we want to work with go only through a higher self. They don't feel creepy and manipulative. They don't feel weird and ooey and gooey. They don't feel invasive. Okay, Mother Earth is saying we have got to be active in this remembering, like reset our field, like, oh yeah, okay. This is a weird vibration, but I remember deep, true connection, organic, original. Mother Earth's organic original dream. Mother Earth's organic original dream. You are her steward, and you're here to be the tower that emits that frequency. And oh my gosh, so the pressure is on with this Leo stuff for SuperNova souls to come out of the closet. And it's weird because in the Q movement, there's a quote in one of the posts that says they won't be able to walk the street. And this has always been kind of like talking about the criminals. And once we realize that's maybe why they built their underground bunkers, because once we understand what they've done to us, we're coming for you, but now I'm like, is it supernova souls that aren't going to be able to walk the street because you have this light on and people are going to be like either scared of you, or they're going to obsessively want your energy, or they're just not going to be able to stop looking at you, and they're going to be like, surrounded by energies, the vortex of magnetic quality, and you're going to have a following like that. Anyway, it's interesting. It makes me think of the Bible verse that talks about how the end times will be shortened. And it sounds like, I think this is another total misinterpretation, because it says the end times are going to be shortened for the elect, right? So it's like, well, because you guys are here, like it'll like for you guys as a gift, right? Or whatever. But that's not actually the truth. It's like the end times days are shortened because of the elect. Because of the elect. The days of trauma are shortened. And thank you, Supernova Soul, for being here and being you and making it through all you've gone through. You are a rock star. There's a lot of energy around making a note, documenting your story, because it's like we're going to be moving on to the next phase, and we're going to not even remember how difficult it's been. And we want to take all. Maybe this is the end of North Node and Pisces. Like we want it all. We want to understand. We want to feel the grief. We want to come back into connection. We want to move those emotions, and we want to release those last chapters, because the astrology is saying it's time to move on into the next incarnation. So Uranus and Gemini, our new renaissance, the disclosure of advanced technologies, square North Node Pisces, the excruciating replay of the most persecuted, victimy, martyr, sacrifice, oh gosh, stuff that's going on in as we heal the issues and energies of the Piscean age. Just a bloom, and of course a bloom with the South Node coming to the beginning of Virgo, saying, are you going to clean up the earth? Do you remember the earth? Does anybody care about her? Where all of our stuff comes from? Are we just going to pretend she doesn't exist? Because she's feeling really lost and alone and nobody gives a shit about her. She's the source of everyone's life and nobody cares whether she lives or dies. That's this rebellious teenager goddess that's waking up, Mother Dragon. Like, watch out. And so this Uranus square the nodes is this pressure on us to shine, pressure as disclosure, pressure to embody, pressure to face the truth, pressure for the truth to be revealed, the seismic activity. But it's not seismic like earthquakes, it's little zingy zings. We are the earthquake. This is what Uranus and Taurus, the message was. All these astrologers like to say all these doomsday shit, Oh, Uranus and Taurus, it's vibration, it's going to be earthquakes and traumas. Yes, we've had our earth problems, but go check all the weather modification and directed at energy weapons used at all those disasters, because Uranus in Taurus was supernova souls was taking on the seismic activity within their own body. And we are the seismic activity. And we can absorb and work with Mother Earth. All we need to do, she says, is go stand at these places that have been taken over, her special vortexes and our magnetic quality, to stand there. And especially places we've stood in past lives, and to put our feet on the earth and stand. That's all we need to do to reclaim. But please also sing and celebrate and dance, the way it's always been done. And here we are just surviving and struggling and so sick. And it's like life force is returning, and she's our guardian, and she's got everything we need right inside of us because we're hers and she's ours. She wants you to know this. She wants you to feel that you can walk in a field that looks like a big, comfortable couch, chair, or a lotus flower, that life can live life and carry you through this experience. It has to do with the remembering. But what if it's more like about remembering? Like we've been dismembered, because in order to create a surrogate fake Earth experience, hologram simulation, human consciousness needed to be conquered, and it needed to be dismembered into pieces, Isis and Osiris. And so the remembering is putting our pieces back together. You're going to feel so much better. And it's a good mantra. I claim back all that's mine, right? Like I claim back all that's mine. The good feeling of what it feels like to have that self-land, to know it's yours. It's not a competition. We have this whole competition energy of that fake AI mother. It's like, oh no, that's not yours to have. You don't deserve it. You don't get to, you didn't do it right. And it's like, oh, because stealing and manipulating and intense violence and trauma is the right way to do it. Or, not according to Mother Earth. And we're going back to that model, that paradigm right now. Right now. That's the third and final square. With Chiron moving into Taurus, we're talking about Mother Earth embodying who she is. And who is she? Both the Edgar Cayce readings and the Rudolf Steiner lectures mention a connection, a similarity, an actual exact same identity of the soul of Earth that's been separated, the same as the Christ that manifested in Jesus, Yeshua. Like Yeshua is the bride of Earth, the husband. They're a couple. They're the same. When we talk to Mother, it's the same. Like Isis is Jesus. And so we are this invitation for all of us to embody the Christ consciousness is this second coming of Jesus or whatever, but it's this whole kind of reflection of like, if you look at all the true teachings that Yeshua brought, they're mother's teachings exactly, right? Do no harm, love your neighbor. Like, it's just like, and then, and so it was like, we needed a male, Christed masculine to bring us to the mother's teachings. And now, because the teachings around Jesus and Christianity and control have gotten so out of whack, people it's hard for them to come back to find Jesus as a man and as an incarnate Buddha. And so the mother, coming back to Mother Earth, is how we come back to Yeshua and understand and really receive him. So that seems like the reflection of these shift of ages, the Christed masculine, Christed feminine. What does it look like? The Christed feminine is our earth goddess. Like, so if Jesus, it's like Jesus came to show us to tell us again and again that he was a one and only son of God consciousness, right? So God himself, really. And Mother Earth is the one and only daughter. And we get to like live and breathe and exist as her body. So we're stepping into this and claiming it and claiming our human consciousness, claiming our right to evolve, claiming our right to shine, claiming our right to express the truth. And once this disclosure happens, we can never again be reset. So it's almost like they're trying, the forces that have reset our time and timeline by taking our technologies and wiping our memory again and again. They're doing it on a minuscule level, like a tiny little fractal-y level, like where have you had this where you'll have a breakthrough? Oh, and that feeling like I'm never going to go back to the way I felt because now I see it, I understand it, but then you're back there. And it's like we're having our timeline reset in front of us. We've got to get ahead of that game. We got to get ahead of the game. So you got to know, it's art of war. We need a Declaration of Independence and we need a war manual for this galactic battle that we didn't know we signed up for with all these fakers and liars and manipulators to the point where that's what we think the only thing that exists in the world. Because we've been totally quarantined from each other. This is the main tactic, So it's like that peace and connected feeling is the thing they're working against the most, and our connection to each other. So we know it's been blocked a lot, and as it comes back, it's going to be abundant and amazing because that dam's going to break, and that abundance is going to flow. This life force is coming back. There is no stopping it. So this is a very powerful energy because it feels like Neptune and Saturn in Aries together are really activating this powerful energy of claiming back our true human potential, which is our access to life force energy, and resetting this vibration. Now that's the energy after the solstice on the 26th. So right after the solstice, we'll start feeling the sun in Cancer come into that square with Neptune. And so that's where we kind of have like, who are you and where are you in the dream? Okay, say it's mother's dream, but who are you and where are you in it? Are you in alignment? Can we change our lives to live in this alignment? To just force it in a way, like it's been blocked at every turn, but it's like as we embody and we put our pieces back together, we remember, then we have a force so we can move, and the waters need to part. And all of these energies that are trying to harass and take what's ours, they're only harassing us because they want what we have. That was Mary Magdalene. That's what she showed us when we encountered her in a session. This is the cool thing that can happen. Please come to that solstice soul group session, Saturday, June 20th. 10 a.m. Mountain Time, but she showed us she was like a rebellious teenager and she was in trouble for not following the rules, and she went away. She ran away a little bit, but in that time that she took away, which is really important, this has been our isolation, right? Because we have to say, wait a minute, you're telling me I'm this, 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 and this, and I don't accept that reality. That's what this technology is trying to do. And the people around us, handlers, this is who you are. This is your reality. Da 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 da. Let's build you up and tear you down again and again until you have no idea who you are. And so when you isolate and take time to yourself, you can self-reflect and be like, oh, this is who I am. And then you can say, oh, and I'm not that. I'm going to cherish and own and value and take care of what I am, because it is precious and beautiful. And this is where we are. If our body's her body and we're coming and falling back in love with Mother Earth, then we need to take care of ourselves in that way. And maybe that's the radical self-care. I think with Chiron at the 0 degrees of Taurus, because Taurus is the physical body, it's like radical self-care really required. And that fits Mercury retrograde here in Cancer, kind of like giving us a chance to pause and go back and figure out what Jupiter in Cancer has been about. Can we receive this beautiful energy, the tsunami of Mother's love that's coming back into our world? If we're her children and we remember, then we should be the channels. We should be the cup, the Holy Grail that can catch the energy and move it in just the right way. You're so important. You're so necessary. You are so needed. And thank you so much for being here. And so this intense energy is a complete finishing up of the Piscean age, which is kind of like requires a reconnection to Mother Earth. And Mercury retrograde is going to be about, the sun will be in Cancer for this next month, and Mercury retrograde resolves in the beginning of August. And Mercury will move into Leo there in mid-August and come into a conjunction with Jupiter for a triumphant return to the next chapter from this pause in mid-August. The 15th and 16th is when Mercury meets up with Jupiter. So, the cool thing that's going on, even though we've got Venus in square to Pluto, and then the sun is going to be square Neptune, we've also got the sun in sextile to Chiron that we talked about, right? So moving into the new signs together, saying the next chapter is about owning and loving and nurturing ourselves as humans. And then we've got Uranus square the nodes at this intense kind of middle of June explosion, pressure, energy. But in the background, we've got, or in the foreground, but it's another sextile. So you feel those you have to if we have squares and sextiles, you have to reach out and grab the sextile because the square is like so intense. And this beautiful long-lasting sextile is fascinating between Mercury and Mars, Mercury in sextile to Mars, Mercury in Cancer, Mars in Taurus. And so this happens from the 16th to the 24th, but we'll feel it through the end of the month. And they're just 1 degree apart. They never really come into exact sextile. It's an interesting dance of like an informative, very important strategic conversation. And you know what's so cool about this strategic conversation is it's evidence that the masculine is going to come around to take care of the feminine so that she can take back her power. And so we can all take back our power. And it takes the masculine honoring, protecting, and having reverence and supporting the feminine in that voice. So it's really cool because we've got Venus and Leo, the feminine shining in a masculine sign. And then we've got Mars in Taurus, or an earth sign, Mercury in Cancer. So the masculine planets in feminine signs having a very important conversation. Sextiles are this creative solutions and helpful energy and helpful information with Mercury. So it's like a conversation between our warrior for embodiment, for our wealth, Mars and Taurus, and then Mercury in Cancer, our wealth comes from reconnecting to Mother. Go ahead and fight for it. But until you come back and fall back in love and honor, respect, and elevate the feminine. But we got to get rid of that monster, fake feminine, jealous, psycho bitch, right, Mom? No, that's not the one. The one that eats you when you're in her path. No, 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 no. We got to get rid of her. Elevate the divine, pure feminine expression. And that's this beautiful conversation that Mercury and Mars are having during this sextile. But get this, Mercury takes his retrograde, comes back, and then they'll finally come into the exact sextile in the first week of August, or second week, the 8th and 9th of August. So that's right when Mercury comes out of retrograde shadow. So it's like completing it, and then they have their exact sextile. So it's like, oh, so Mercury has to go back and get this mother piece. So this whole 2 months is about going back and getting the mother piece. Our humanness, the sun sextile Chiron telling us, who are we without embodying? So is our embodiment, if we're embodying our higher self, which is Christ consciousness, our Christed self, but it's also mother's body, we get to ascend. So that's spiritual ascension on earth, is becoming a Christed body. That's what Rudolf Steiner says, is that we're moving into turning our bodies of the earth into light. And so, yeah, it seems like a little bit excruciating process, especially with all these forces that don't want us to pull it off, But Uranus square the nodes and says, no, the truth is coming. Justice is coming. We're not getting out of the Piscean age till we make this. We've got to make it right. And that's how we heal and save the earth, is to heal and save human consciousness. Free it from this slavery. Recognize the slavery. Recognize this theft. Stand up for what we're not and what we are. Separate and say, no, these resources are no longer available for your games. The end. The end of the world for them. And they keep creating this Armageddon energy, want everybody in fear all the time, And that's where I think that these energies of these, the UFO people, or whatever the extraterrestrial type energy showing up right now, they're trying that whole energy of wanting to kind of be there to save us, or be there to control our awakening. Because at the end game, at the end story of the hero's journey, everybody turns against him, even his council of elders. He realizes are trying to manipulate and manage and restrict his power. But for what he needs to do, for what the hero has to do, he has to go against, like Mary Magdalene. She had to go against her whole village, and her whole settlement, or whatever, community. And so the hero has to go against even his elder higher council. And that's who's showing up right now in bodies. But we have to understand the reptilian agenda and what we're healing. This is what came through. Very powerful. Go get that activation, the replay of the Gemini new moon activation. We've got it. We got the healing of the reptilian infiltration, and an understanding of the path of disease introduced into humanity, and this impulse. So the thing about the reptilian programming is that it's always the same, a linear playbook. They don't have the creativity that we do. And that's where we get the loop-de-loop. You're in reptilian programming, But the energy of our reptilian programming, if we can just recognize it and be like, oh yeah, no, human reptile, we're not that. And so the reptilian energy is the end justifies the means. It's all about survival. And so you can do whatever you need to do for survival of the species, and constant competition and territorialism. Does this make sense? The infiltration in the DNA of humanity, and war upon war upon war up at the territory of Earth. And the goddess, she's traumatized, broken, and can't even remember who she is. And now she's waking up and being like, whoa, how dare you? All of you allow this to happen to my body. And so when we come back to Mother, this Mercury retrograde is bound to have some feelings of regret and shame and retribution, like feeling like, repentance, being like, I got so far away from Mother. You can't come back without having grief over how far you got away. But to remember that she's the rebel, and we all want to be, and we want to care for her and get on our team and be with her through this change and through this reclaiming of these resources, which the Uranus square the nodes as the nodes finish up. So the nodes move into Aquarius and Leo at the end of July. So we have 6 more weeks of the nodes in Pisces and Virgo, and then no more Pisces. So that no more deception, no more reality based on lies, because that was what the Piscean age was about. We couldn't see through it. Now we see them shape-shifting. And that's why we need to know that we have been in this abusive situation with an external control. And now that it would make sense that that external control would show up and say, oh, we're your friends, because this is the playbook. They create a problem that they can create a solution for so they can save us from it. We can never be our own hero. And that's what we need to watch for right now, is this like being traumatized into this place of accepting and acknowledging an external authority that is not an authority, not as advanced. That's what I want to say about these people showing up. Pictures with the president or whatever. They're not as advanced as where we came from. This earth, us master builders, we built all this technology, the pyramids, to be used in alignment with Mother Earth. And so we are more advanced in our consciousness of what we've experienced in the past than our controllers. Okay? So these people showing up in bodies, if they're showing up in an orb, in consciousness, that's different. Showing up in a body as a race of beings, they have an agenda. And they have an agenda to keep us in fear. So the whole reptilian playbook is all through fear. Creating fear to save us from fear. And then you can create scarcity to create more fear. So the removing of the reptilian DNA distortion is a removal of fear entirely. It is not human. There is a natural fear, animalistic type fear of protecting yourself. But this level of fear of trauma and catastrophe and power and all this, that is completely contrived. So maybe in this energy of like, what's us, what's them? They're not us. Oh, there's the reptilian playbook. Oh, I see it. And the people around you that, care only about themselves. And they don't even notice. They just can't even have a reciprocal conversation. So we're going to be identifying this and recognizing this. And that's where we're saying, oh, I'm kicking this out. So go get that activation, get that clearing, because the more people that hold that vibration, the more we are set free from fear entirely on human earth right now in our experience as humans on earth. And so all of the reptilian control is based on fear. So wow. So they basically saying like that it's like this energy of like, now they're going to come say, oh, we've been testing you. We're your helpers. We're your guys. It's like, no, you've been traumatizing us with duplicity, lies, manipulations, stealing our resources. And we will not accept you as an authority to us. There's no negotiation. You have nothing that we need. We have everything that you need. Game over. And so, but I can just see that these forces in the end game are going to do everything they can to try to keep that control over humanity. So these are the kind of games that are going to play out. And it's really important for us to keep this consciousness. They come in a body, they've got an agenda, and we need to examine how high is your consciousness really. So you have these advanced technologies that maybe you gave to, because the thing is that our own government, at least in the US, is proven, I'm sure other governments too, but our own government gave permission for these extraterrestrial or breakaway civilizations to exchange their technology for their permission to abduct and manipulate humanity. And this is where we have to say, we have been sold down the river and we are claiming it all back now. The technologies, the river, right? If we know that the water comes from inside of the earth, primary water, Mother gives us the water inside the earth. And we have all these places on earth that are now desert that used to not be desert. There's a key piece to this. We have to bring water to the desert, but it might flood their underground bases. And so it's like we're reclaiming back the water in the desert of our lives. The juiciness, the alive feeling, the creativity, the energy to do more than just exist. Because that's that fear survival mode. The end justifies the means. They will do anything to us for the survival of their species. And so we have to understand that's not who we are. And we've been way too nice, and yet we don't want to go to destruction and anger. And so we come into the power of that love and that Christ consciousness and that golden light. And it's weird because it's like you can see Jesus, Yeshua walking in it. And there's a dynamic there we need to understand is that light is coming on. It is going to attract the darkest demonic shit you can imagine. It's like a Horcrux in Harry Potter. And so you have to understand that this is what we've been dealing with. In fact, it seems like all supernova souls, our whole deal here in this Earth evolution experience is like we're a honeypot. We're like so much light that it brings the darkness out of the shadows, like a trap. And we're the bait. And isn't that fun? Did we sign up for this? Anyway, it is a very, very confusing time as we come out of our MK Ultra mind control. That it was only available to be done through that reptilian programming. We come and we remember. And there's too many of us remembering, and we're going to remember, put our pieces back together, live and breathe this truth, right? So wherever you find yourself in the mental or the just energies of this world and processing and everything, just take every moment you can to come back in whatever way that brings you to this place of feeling that connection with mother's organic dream. And live it and breathe it and see it and draw it and sing it and write it and, live it and breathe it. It's just the constant mantra in your mind, because it's like they're infiltrating our thoughts, trying to control human consciousness in this very insidious way. But what if they only find mom there? They only find organic mother. They only find our goddess. They only find the garden, and that's all that can emanate out. And let's just see that all the towers, all the technologies reprogrammed back to the source code to now what we know. Mother's garden, organic original dream. We are all one. Do no harm. Mutual reciprocity. Shine your freaking light. Proclaim to the world this truth of ecstatic existence. And that is our devotion. So it's a glorious chapter that lies ahead. We're in an excruciating end game. It's not going to be like this forever. I know a lot of supernova souls wondering if they're going to make it through the next day or the day, the moment. Just keep breathing, keep loving, keep coming into this. And in these moments of clarity, of connection, of this deeper peace that's more available now, you have to still work at it, reset, but in that place, it's like this feeling of supernovas being reconnected to each other. And it's really beautiful. It's like, it's okay, we're connected, right? So we can meet up. We can, on the astral plane, we can feel each other, we can help each other. And it's a very powerful energy. So just be open to that. And a lot more opening to Uranus awakening, the psychic power of Pisces. What we got the message that we can't get out of the Piscean age until we reclaim the miracles and magic. And we want to get rid of the deceptions and lies and delusions and all that. But so how do we reclaim the miracles and magic? And that is, I think, I'm just seeing pictures of direct revelation coming to you. And that takes a moment, an instant, a vision and understanding and knowing. That's not So these mystical revelations are going to be coming. So be open, make space in your life for this. You're called to a very spiritual path, but your spiritual path is your unique individual expression creatively of the divine. the way only you can do it. So, very powerful energies here. And keep in mind that we've got the dynamic, beautiful energy of Sun sextile Chiron, a new start of embodiment and a humanness, and Mercury sextile Mars, the masculine, in conversation about how to support the goddess and save Mother Earth, and then we've got that intensity of the destiny energy of Uranus square the nodes. It's time to clean up the earth and free the earth, or we're going to lose it. We've got to clean up the lies. We got to get the mysteries, the healing back of the life force and Christ consciousness, so we can repair and heal, because it's coming to, we're coming to the end game, the last chapter. The pressure is on, but we've also got that Mercury, so we've got those sextiles, and we've got Venus sextile Uranus, trine Neptune, but square Pluto. So it's kind of like a beautiful dynamic combination of pressure to come into our divine authority as a spiritual intuitive voice and message in the world, and to heal the balance, nurture feminine power back into authority in all of us. That voice freeing the earth by freeing human consciousness back to the organic way it wants to be. Just remember that this organic earth, this model, the blueprint, the codes you have in your being, in your DNA, underneath the reptilian garbage, like that has everything in there. It has your manual, it has your part in it, it has the roadmap forward, and it has that original dream. So go there to get your news there. This reset, this like, and it is a feeling like, wow, Mother loves me because I've got the codes and I can feel and remember, and I'm breathing with her, and she forgives me for going so far away, because she was right there all along, because we could be abducted on a spaceship, she says, and you can still connect with me, the organic Mother Earth, by just breathing with me in consciousness. And so that's what we need to do to claim our garden. So intense and powerful, beautiful times. The energy of Uranus square the nodes will take us right up through the end of the month. And then we're going to have that explosive and powerful Jupiter square Chiron. And so we will keep in touch about that, this declaration of independence for human souls from any external power control. And that is the American Revolution. America, l'America, the goddess Columbia. That's what so many of the revolutionary fighters, at the American Revolution, there was an issue in that so much of the population was just comfortable to stay in the tyranny and control and didn't fight, wasn't called, and even worked for the other side. While a small amount of the portion, right, like the healers, the light workers, the warriors, the truthers, the conspiracy theorists, the SuperNova souls, the intuitive ones that could see the bigger picture. And like through this whole evolution, there's just been a small amount of us fighting for everyone, and pretty much everything and everyone against us. But now it's all for us. It's the only way. So how do we do that? And that's this chapter. So Jupiter square Chiron, it's time to embody this light, and there's no other choice, and it's the only way we win the war. So it's an honor to be here with you, to know you. Thank you so much for your support, and I could really use it if you could drop a donation, if you appreciate this, if I can be helpful to you. It's my greatest desire, to bring forward these concepts, these ideas to support SuperNova souls, and I need your support. If you can drop me a donation, activation. If you can sign up for that solstice, I put a big sliding scale. If you can happen to pay more for the solstice soul group session, this reading the Akashic records is so valuable. And this is where this is like an example of Mother Earth or the intuitive arts or the divine feminine saying, hey, we're going to value what's valuable now. And so thank you for helping me do this through this time where we're all upside down and inside out. I know everybody's struggling, and you showing up and just being present with the ideas is enough, is so powerful. And so thank you so much for being with us. And so also I've got Goddess Activation 2 starting this Friday. If you've done, you could do the replays of Goddess Activation 1, start in with Goddess Activation 2, incredibly powerful work in owning our creation forces, which is our devotion of this next chapter, right? And also I'm looking to do a reconfiguration of the Owning Your Energetic Field, because I felt so challenged in this infiltration. And I know we're all feeling this, and all of the skills we have within us, we can own our field. We have our electromagnetic field is more real than our own body. So look out for a new incarnation of the Owning Your Electromagnetic Field course. It's very necessary at this time. So, and also I have this great coaching program, limited appointments for individual sessions, going soul team coaching. So please reach out to me and let's work together, show up, be you. This is your opportunity to become a coach as well, and finally come into to bring forward what you offer to the world. At SuperNovas, it's our time. It's been held back for far too long. And so feel into that connection, feel into that deep, true connection, and into the garden and the peace, and into the connection of the other supernova souls in consciousness, and breathe in that, rest in that, and just know we're up and down and all over the place in this dynamic astrology, miracles and magic and healings and revelations, but also deep into those old programmed patterns. But it's only so we can see the playbook and recognize that we didn't do it wrong. We did not create the Atlantean catastrophes. We did not misuse our power in that way. We've all had a karmic journey, but it's like, as long as we feel so bad about something that we did, we can never see what they're doing to us. See? So this is a deep journey into self-worth, a lot of grief, a lot of cleansing, healing. Taurus and Cancer, it's like about, oh, does mother love me? And, oh, can I have what I need? And so it's a very powerful energy with our men there, and so it's, and then Venus learning how to shine her light and feel safe, uh, as the beautiful whole creature, beautiful, intuitive voice, connected, purified, aligned with mother. We need this leadership so bad. We need to see good people elevated in this world right now, like really good people, not fake people with masks pretending to be somebody else. We need really good people. And let's go. Thank you for being here. You're so special. I love you so much. And I look forward to connecting with you soon, hopefully at that Solstice Soul Group session, Sunday, June 20th. And we'll be there's a Capricorn full moon. The next activation will be Capricorn full moon on Monday, June 29th. So I look forward to seeing you then on the next update. Thank you so much for your support. Links to donate in the information box below. And thank you so much for being with me. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Elise. Namaste.